Hello and welcome to PlayStation Access. My name is Connor and I'm here to tell you all about Crimson Desert. Now, I was already excited about this huge open world adventure after playing it back in 2025, but I was lucky enough to experience nearly 7 hours grappling with Cliff & Co, and oh boy, this game is even more colossal than I thought. Seriously, if you think those feature overview videos were huge, then you ain't seen nothing yet. So I've decided to put together a list of reasons why this game is going to be massive in every sense of the word. So here are 6-ish reasons why Crimson Desert is even bigger than the hype. For those that don't know, Crimson Desert is the soon-to-be-released game from Pearl Abyss, the team behind the long-running MMO Black Desert Online, which should give you an idea of how experienced the developers are on working on enormous projects. These people know how to handle a landmass. Like its predecessor, Crimson Desert is an open-world action RPG that gives players the opportunity to do almost anything they can think of. But this time, the game is a strictly solo affair, and I'd say much better for it. That means it has all of the depth and scale of a world built for hundreds of players, but you're the main character, and some level 200 player called Noob Crusher 69 can't take that away from you. But seriously, this game is truly enormous. There are systems that I was only able to scratch the surface of, like the ability to don a mask and become a petty criminal, or an investment system that directly shapes the real-world economy. There's even the chance to fund missionary expeditions and have the church convert locals to increase your power and influence in the name of Solomon. That's Crimson Desert's version of God, by the way, which is a mechanic I don't think I've seen outside of a strategy game before. Basically, if you can imagine it, it's probably in the game. So it's a big game, big deal. But what is it actually about? Well, you take a knee and I'll give you the lowdown. You are Cliff, a badass soldier as hefty as a mountain with fists like boulders. Bad rock puns aside, he fights for the Greymanes, whose home of Pywell is currently having a bit of a civil war due to the death of its leader. When the game starts, the Greymanes are not having the best day at all, having lost a battle and some comrades to a rival faction known as the Black Bears. Your brief respite for grief and arguing over soup is interrupted by a Black Bear sneak attack, which leads to more deaths and the de facto dissolution of the Greymanes for good. Oh, and you also die. Not exactly ideal. Luckily, mid-exploration, you visit the Abyss, a mystical realm that you platform around a bit until you're brought back to the land of the living. After being fished out of the river and drying off, the friendly cartographer that saved your life offers to take you into town, and Cliff is let loose on the city of Hanand for you to do as you please. Hanand is the starting settlement, which means by gaming lore, it'll be a tiny sample platter of all of the open world activities the game has to offer. An amusement bouche, if you will. And if this is indicative of what's to come, then we should all prepare to lose hundreds of hours to this bad boy. Even at this early stage of the game, there are bounties to go after, shopkeepers to meet, and side quests to fulfill. Every single person you interact with has a relationship meter, including the cat I insisted on chasing down to pet. You can help NPCs with tasks like chimney sweeping, or give money to beggars, and you can even arm wrestle the locals. On the town notice board, there were 2 side quests available right away: logging or fishing. I immediately took the chance to assist the blacksmith in sourcing some timber to learn how to refine weapons. You need to hack at the stump to make a large log, and then refine those larger logs into collectible smaller resources. It adds this subtle layer of mechanical realism, but still keeps your experience firmly rooted in the power fantasy. Rooted. Get it? Because it's like, you know what, forget it, we're moving on. After a few run-ins with disappearing oddballs, Cliff finds himself back in the Abyss with a brand new power, the Axiom Force, which is essentially a grappling hook made of magic rope you can use to get around faster, pull on enemies, and solve puzzles. Cliff also gets Force Palm, which is essentially a force push ability you can also use in combat and to solve puzzles. He also gets literal wings. Oh, and you can also use elemental powers, such as Frost Breath, which creates this barrier around you and freezes all the enemies inside so you can literally shatter them. Naturally, the other elements are represented in magic attacks as well, and each have their own handy uses too. Couple these with an array of standard weapon attacks like thrusts and swirls, and actual wrestling moves like the clothesline and a suplex, you're practically unstoppable. Now, this is a lot to take in, I do get that. But Pearl Abyss take such great care to guide you through learning each attack, and when it all starts to click, you're chaining combos like an esports pro. And somewhat counterintuitively, the more abilities you have, the easier those combos actually become, which means that even someone as uncoordinated as me can throw down in a way that I can only dream of in a fighting game. And if you're worried about advancing through the abilities too quickly, the skill trees available for each character are so enormous, it'll be a long time before you run out of new moves to discover. Each character? Yeah, I said each character. You what? Ah, I didn't tell you about the multiple characters, did I? Okay, let's back it up a bit. While you will spend most of your time playing as Cliff, you will eventually gain 2 new members in your party to be tagged in when the big man wants a rest. Firstly, there's Damien, the duelist. This nimble magician is best at taking on enemies at a distance, but when bullets, light magic, and a throwable mini shield aren't enough to take out enemies at range, she leaps to the front, rapier in hand. And then there's Unka, a fellow Greymane with big arms and an even bigger axe. He's more of a traditional berserker type, with more slams built into his grappling moveset and a devastating musket that could probably take down an elephant. I got to play as both characters towards the end of my session, and while I have to stress that I barely put them through their paces, they each have a very distinctive weight and feel to them that set them apart from each other as well as Cliff himself. Damien leaps from one enemy to the next while picking off stragglers, which is great if you prefer a more nuanced and agile fighting style, whereas Unka is very much built for bringing bad guys to you and then pounding them into mush. I know, that's not much to go on, but in my defense, the reason I spent so little time with these other characters is because I was too busy playing with the dragon and the mech. Yeah, you heard correctly. There's also a mech in this fantasy RPG. To be more accurate, it's more of a steampunk exoskeleton called the AGAC, but between you and me, it's a big old mech with rockets, electric zappy things, and even an arm-mounted machine gun. And it is glorious. You summon it in the same way that you would a horse and go into battle to inspire what I can only assume is trouser change-worthy fear in your enemies. Now, clearly, this is bucket loads of fun, but let's not be too hasty and label it the coolest feature. That point goes to the other summonable mount, an honest-to-God dragon. Aside from the obvious benefit of massively increased traversal, you can launch individual fireballs or unleash a lung full of napalm on your foes down below, which is just plain awesome. If you're wondering why I've become a little less verbose than usual, this is the point in my playtime where I stopped writing notes, so I do have less to draw on. Having both of these mounts in the game is so stupidly entertaining that I literally lost the ability to do anything other than giggle. My brain literally devolved into, haha, mecko brr. Using them is so intoxicating, you may not be safe to drive until the next day, which is quite awkward given you've been put in charge of a gun-toting death machine or a flying volcano. By now, I've talked a fair bit about combat's appeal, cool powers, different heroes, a mech, all of which are brilliant, but I do feel as though I've essentially covered the burger toppings list and you actually want to know how good the patty and the bun are. Well, they're really quite good. Take the boss fights. In these, you're essentially locked into an arena 1v1 style, and that means relying on your skills alone. And that is where the fighting game comparison comes in handy again. These bouts are all about timing, and messing that up means you're at the mercy of an enemy just as massively overpowered as you are. There were far too many instances of nailing that perfect combo, celebrating for just a touch too long, and then missing the cue to dodge, leaving me on the receiving end of what turned out to be a devastating finisher. Sorry, there's an editor's note here that says, I'm not ashamed to admit I died a fair amount going up against this goblin boss and sync with a montage of those deaths. Well, we won't be doing that, will we, Video Editor Joe? And therein lies the epic beauty of Crimson Desert's combat. It's bombastic and, at times, a little silly, but the mark of a great action game is more than what its flashiest attacks are. It's whether it nails those fundamentals before layering on the flamboyance. And Pearl Abyss clearly brought their knowledge on giving players exciting, impactful combat, and then showered us with fancy silliness for good measure. If you're into complex action and are looking for something meaty to chew on, then this might be the biggest release of your year. There's so much to talk about when it comes to Crimson Desert that I've not shared yet, and I only got to play it for one day. Unfortunately, because of the sheer volume of stuff that's in the game, not everything can fit seamlessly into a script, so a lot hasn't been covered. but rather than leave those bits out, I decided to cram them in anyway, as a sort of lightning round at the end, for those of you hungry for as much detail as possible. Starting with, okay, I did mention cats, but there are also dogs you can pet, as well as a litany of real and fantastical wildlife and insects you can steal and collect for crafting. There's crafting in the traditional sense, as well as cooking, alchemy, trade, and even a little bit of settlement building. I didn't even mention the bow and arrow, which is available from the start, by the way, and can be used with special arrow types like poison arrows, and you can set regular arrows on fire using the scenery, something that will come in handy in combat and exploration. You'll do a lot of exploring as well, because there are enormous puzzle structures dotted around the map. I came across a tower built on a movement puzzle involving some giant fans that felt like a cross between sections of Uncharted and early Assassin's Creed. As well as those larger mysteries, you'll also find smaller puzzles around the world, offering artifacts or fast travel points as a reward. If you don't want to use those, you can stick with your OG steed and enjoy some of the best horse riding animations I've seen since Red Dead Redemption 2, a game I love, by the way. The map itself is actually staggeringly big, like so much so that I only saw one region in my full day play session. Boss designs have no limits at all. I fought a pirate called Sir Catfish who had the ability to attack from underwater and summon geysers that shot me into the clouds, which was really cool until I forgot to glide and then hit the ground and kill myself instantly. Ooh, I also fought, and no, this isn't a joke, a fire-spitting, missile-launching robot jester made from beer barrels mounted on a spring that I had to kill by stabbing its weak points like something out of Shadow of the Colossus. And definitely my final 100% last thing, the Abyss region isn't just some extra world you have to visit through a portal. It exists within your game, meaning if you decide to jump off the edge, you can just glide back down to the so-called normal world. How cool is that? Oh god, this game, man, bonkers, but brilliant. And that was 6-ish reasons why Crimson Desert is even bigger than the hype, and why we cannot wait to get lost inside it. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like, and do comment down below what you're most excited to do when you finally get loose in Pywell. And if you want to see more videos like this and keep up to date with all things PlayStation, then make sure to subscribe to PlayStation Access and hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Ta-ra!